What's going on, Boston fans? Welcome into Celtics Today. I am your host, Allie Barefoot. I got producer Chip right here to my right. And look, the Boston Celtics are flat out rolling right now. But the NBA trade rumors are pretty hot going around the league. So Boston's currently 14-4, the best record in the entire league. But you guys know this, and I know this. Brad Stevens never sleeps. So we're going to talk about potential trade rumors today on the show. But first and foremost, if you want the Celtics to keep winning, if you want them to blow out the next team by 27 points, just like they did against the Bulls, go on ahead and hit that sub button for me. Breaking news, daily news, rumors, going live, everything you need to know about the Boston Celtics, you're going to find right here. Let's jump on into it. Our top 3 trade targets. I'm not going to give them all to you at once. Come on now. Our first one is Rui Hachimura from the Lakers. Now, hear me out on this one, all right? When you look at his stats, you can say that there are some Celtics on the roster right now that can produce these numbers as well, but I like Hachimura's build and his size. He's got almost 12 points per game coming off the bench right now, almost 4 boards, 1 assist, which is totally fine, and 50% from the field. I'm liking it. He would be a great bench addition to the seats, because you guys got to remember, the Celtics have the best starting 6 in the NBA. Yeah, starting 6. That's if you're counting Al Horford. So Brad Stevens, if I were him, I'd really be looking at something that can help our depth. I think Hachimura is the answer to that. But why would the Los Angeles Lakers trade with the Boston Celtics? Well, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking for Los Angeles because LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they need their rings. They cannot compete with Father Time as much as we would all love them to. And also, when you've got Hachimura, he's a spark in the playoffs. You love to see Hachimura pop off. He's got over 12 points per game in the playoffs with the Lakers last year, and I think he could definitely help the C's on their playoff run, because there's no guarantee the Lakers are going to make it that far in the playoffs or in the playoffs at all. Plus, the Lakers need some draft capital and more offensive weapons. So that means the Celtics would have to give up some offensive weapons to get Hachimura. He's got a nice mid-range shot. I like what he does in the paint, a little bit outside the paint. He's not a big three-point shooter, but when you got Kristaps and you got Al Horford and the entire starting 6 shooting threes, you don't need Hachimura to do so when he comes off the bench. Plus, you got PP and Sam Hauser, and I like his build. When you look at people behind Al Horford, Luke Kornet's, he's lanky. He's very skinny. I like Hachimura's got some beef on him so he can really play post if you need him to. But overall, Hachimura in January, he had opponents shooting 36.9 from the field when he was guarding him. He's great around the perimeter. He's even better in the paint. I'm not a huge fan of Luke Kornet, and you guys know that. I'm a big Neemias Queta fan for the Boston Celtics, but if they're not going to play Neemias Queta, then I'd rather them not play Luke Kornet. I'd rather get Hachimura. But with that being said, here is our first trade that I'm going to propose to you guys. Of course, the Celtics would receive Hachimura, but the Lakers would receive Payton Pritchard, Luke Kornet, and a 2024 second-round draft pick. I think Hachimura is worth the second-round draft pick for sure. PP is about $4 million a year. Luke Kornet's about $2.2 million a year. So ultimately, you're going to have to give up to get some. I don't know if I want to part ways with PP, but I know we need some size on the bench, and PP is not the answer for that. So ultimately, that's what you have to give up. But even before I ask you guys, do you want to make this trade? Do you think the Celtics need to make a trade at all? I personally think if we're going to make a trade, it should be for somebody on the bench, because you got the best top 6, and I don't want to break them up. I've loved the way the Celtics have flowed this year. So overall, type T for trade, type NT for no trade for the Boston Celtics. Coming up, I'm going to give you trade proposal number 2 and number 3. But first, I want to tell you guys about our sponsor on Celtics Today. Of course, that is Factor Meals. It makes my life 10 times easier, and I want to help make your life easier. It's basically a fresh, never frozen meal service, and you can skip all the fuss and get straight to the good stuff. Look at how good that looks on your screen. I'm already hungry. You can try it out now for 50% off at factormeals.com/NBAchat50. These meals are delivered right to your door, and they're ready in just 2 minutes because professional chefs have already made it for you. So all you have to worry about is heating it up and enjoying your food. You know, I got some issues. I'm a picky eater, so the fact that I get to pick from over 35 different flavorful and healthy lifestyle meals really makes my life so much smoother. Go on ahead and head to factormeals.com/NBAchat50. Use code NBAChat50, get 50% off. Once again, use code NBAChat50 at factormeals.com/NBAChat50 to get 50% off at Factor's Meals. All right, you guys kind of knew this one was coming. Alex Caruso, of course, should be the Celtics' second trade target. And the reason why I want to bring Alex Caruso back up is because the Celtics just dominated the Bulls. But I kind of liked what I saw from Alex Caruso's game. Now, before you disagree with me, I wouldn't take his stat sheet to be the sum of how he played. I thought on offense, he really spread out the Bulls' offense. He was lingering in the corner for a while with nobody on him. A little bit bad on the Celtics' D part, but also very good on Caruso's offensive part. He got 8 points, 3 steals. You love that from a defensive player. Not so much against your own team, but ultimately the Celtics did get a little sloppy and Caruso took advantage of it. Plus, the Bulls are actually seeking trades right now. They've been very public about it, and Caruso, Drummond, Vucevic, Zach LaVine, I almost forgot who's on the Bulls. Reports show the Bulls don't want to exactly rebuild. They want players that can come in and help them win, but they also really want draft capital. So here's the second trade that we have cooked up on Celtics Today. Now, before I tell you this, I want you to know that I don't want to give this player away, but if it matches up with the price and the money, then ultimately you're going to have to part ways with somebody, but that's what happens when you have to make a trade. Payton Pritchard, you got to let him go with O'Shea Brissett and a 2024 first-round draft pick to get Alex Caruso. This is kind of what starts to match up when it comes to money talks, but like I said, PP is not my favorite target that I would like to give away, but you got to do what you got to do. Would you guys make this deal type A for accept, type D for decline? Alex Caruso would go to the Celtics, and the Bulls receive Payton Pritchard, O'Shea Brissett, and 2024 first-round draft pick. And our third trade target that I want to bring up to you guys is going to be none other than Gordon Hayward. Do you guys remember that name? I think he used to play for the Celtics a couple years ago before they traded him away. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about Gordon Hayward. He could possibly return to Boston. They did trade him away in 2020, but right now, even though the Charlotte Hornets beat the Celtics, Hornets aren't really a playoff contender. So there have been reports that have come out saying, look, they want to trade Gordon Hayward to a possible playoff contending team. Well, that is the Celtics. So, of course, you have to bring that up and look at Gordon Hayward and just see, what's he been doing in Charlotte all these years since we traded him in 2020, because he's currently in the final year of his contract. Boston did trade him away in 2020, and the Hornets have to be realistic about the playoffs. They have 5 wins right now. LaMelo Ball is currently dealing with a bit of an injury. So when you got somebody like Gordon Hayward, he could definitely be extreme help coming off the bench. I wouldn't put him in my starting 5 if he came back to the Boston Celtics. But if he did come back to the Boston Celtics, he's $31 million a year. That means you're going to have to give up a big-time player with that kind of salary. And once again, I don't think I like this trade, but I'm not Brad Stevens. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying this is what equals up to salary. Gordon Hayward, the Celtics would receive. The Hornets would receive Jaylen Brown. I'm not doing this personally. I'm not giving up JB. But if fans want to see Gordon Hayward come back, you have to be realistic and realize, look, $31 million has to come from somewhere, and that's JB's salary. There is no way Brad Stevens is doing this. Absolutely not. A, he's not going to break up that trio, and B, he's not going to break up that trio for Gordon Hayward. And by trio, I mean JT, JP, and KP. I love Gordon Hayward. I think he's great, but I think he served his time in Boston, and while it would be nice to have him back and have somebody come back into an organization that knows how the organization works, it would be a steal, but it's not going to happen. And I hate to break it to you that way, but I'm not letting go of JB, and I don't think you guys would either. But ultimately, comment a player you would like the Celtics to trade for. It can be somebody who's currently in the free agent right now. It could be somebody that you want to possibly see in the Boston Celtics uniform by the trade deadline. But overall, drop a name down below. While you're at it, hit that sub button for me. We're going live on Friday versus the 76ers. We want you guys to be there. So go on ahead and hit that sub button so you can know everything about Celtics Today by Chat Sports.